before we go anywhere, this man would have made it, whoever was promoting him, because he's a great fighter.
Oh, thank you, Frank. We know what you're talking about.
Let's go.
Now, Frank, 5 to 7 more fights. We just had a little discussion about that. Or 10, sorry, or 10. It's such an incredible number, almost disbelief. Are you ready for that? Have you got that in the locker?
Listen, let's get the first one out of the way, but that's how it is. I mean, that's how the love is, and the respect that His Excellency's got for, as he said, British boxers, and certainly for Tyson. And he wants to keep seeing him keep seeing him fighting. He's got a tough fight. This is the biggest fight of the century.
Yeah.
And I'm involved in it, which is brilliant. And I say that because, it hasn't happened. We've been trying to get these heavyweights together for many, many years, all of us, and it's not worked out. And it's taken the Riyadh season and this special event that's been delayed, which has been put, on the 18th now coming on, and it's going to be a special night in boxing, not just in boxing, in world sport.
Yeah.
Because whoever is I hate to say this, having given him a lot of praise, and he's a great fighter, but the blue ribbon division has always been the heavyweights.
Yeah.
The heavyweight, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world has always been one of the most famous people on the planet, and that's what's going to happen on the 18th. That's where it's going to go.
You talked about the size of the fight being the biggest of the 21st century, which I completely agree with. But, I mean, the 4 belts on the line, the undisputed champion is going to be declared after this. You got to be going back to the Thriller in Manila, the Rumble in the Jungle.
Yeah.
These are the sort of fights of that magnitude. It's
and the exotic
monstrous.
backdrop helps as well. Yeah.
And looking at that, the fights you mentioned involved American boxers, and all these fights didn't take place in America. They went to
in American time as well, Frank. So they took place at 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning.
The point I'm making is that it took that to make them happen back in those days, and it's taken Riyadh and His Excellency and his team to really force the issue on this and get it over the line. So we're seeing modern day history in boxing, and it will be a good fight. They're both undefeated. You look at the pedigree of Usyk, from his amateur, everything he's won as an amateur, probably the best cruiserweight of his generation, no doubt about that. And he's come up and beaten not once, on 2 occasions, beaten AJ, who was a lot of people considered was one of the best heavyweights, if not the best heavyweight out there, and done it, and done it as a massive underdog.
Frank, could I ask you, I'm going to go back to that first question about the 5, 7 or 10 fights. It is true though, isn't it, Frank? And you're not on the stand here. It is true though, isn't it, Mr. Warren, that when you are discussing fights out there in Saudi Arabia, you are planning 4, 5 and 6 and 7 shows in advance. That's the impression I get. Well,
that's there's a lot to that. There is. I mean, I've never been so busy at my age, but it is, and look, they have a massive budget for the Riyadh season. That's what makes these events happen.
Possible.
We could never put these type of events on. I'm talking about an overall event like that, because it just financially wouldn't stand up for us. But because of what it's part of, it works. And these shows are just tremendous. The undercards are, every fight on the undercard is a main event.
Yeah.
In its own right.
And the size of this fight and the magnitude of this fight, obviously the undercard is top quality, but you don't even need to have an undercard for it, do you? Really? No one
could be a stand.
And you get a couple of those people. I see some of it, it's minor criticism, but why would anybody even go there with that? You've got what you've all been asking for, what everybody's been asking for. Yeah. When is there going to be a unification of all the belts? And that's it. And the rest of it is just, it's just like a major bonus what you're getting. But the main event is what we've all been talking about, everybody in the sport, outside the sport, those people in the streets say, there's so many belts, I don't know who the real champion is. You know what, on the 18th, you're going to know who the real champion is.
Frank, does it feel like you're making history here? Because, I think when this was called, we were talking to the boys before, and it was like there's another press conference supposed to be immediately. The world was holding their breath collectively. We're seeing Tyson up here in a fantastic mood. We pray that nothing happens. Does it feel like when that bell goes, history will be made? It will be, and all of us are involved in this, and there's a lot of people involved in this, to help make this happen and make it. As I say, as a special event as part of the Riyadh season,
history's been created, and we're all in our small ways and big ways. We're all part of it. But the two boxers are the guys who are getting in there. They're the ones who are going to determine what the history is going to be. There's going to be a winner. There's going to be a loser. Who's it going to be? It's got everything you could want. Two undefeated fighters, the best two heavyweights, bar none, out there at the moment, and we're going to find out. We're going to find out who is the best, who's got the bragging rights, who's going to be the guy.
Frank, is there any sense from sitting next to him where he is, at what stages? I mean, you've been around him for a lot of fights. I've got an opinion on it from 15 feet away. I want yours from 3 feet away.
Nobody training for a fight wants to get injured, and they certainly don't want to get cut in sparring. It's one of the worst things that you can have. But very quickly the date was rescheduled. His eye looks really well. It could be, and I think it will be, a blessing in disguise, because he's going into a camp where he was at the end of his sparring, so he's fit, he's well, so he's had to have a few weeks off, obviously, because he was peaking. He's now back in serious training again now, so he's working towards getting the best out of himself. But what he hasn't had to do is go into a camp and lose weight. Yeah. He's on the money. So he's
never put the weight back on in any way, shape.
And also, he's not like he's had a lot of fights in the last 18 months or so. So it's not like he's burning himself out in the ring, but he's in the training camp, and you only got to look at his face. I mean, he looks like he could fight right now.